Can you see? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, start drawing this. I'll explain you this. Please start drawing it. Done? Done, everyone?
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Listen to this. So, lower girdle is 2. Okay, 2 pieces. This entire one is one piece. This side is 1 piece. So, it's basically 1 and 1. That is 1 plus 1 is 2. Are you getting the point? But this one piece is made up of 3 bones. This one piece is this one piece is called one coxal bone. Okay, this is one coxal bone. But this one coxal bone is formed of the fusion of three bones. Which are those three bones? Ilium, ischium, and pubis. Are you all getting the point? This is now one coxal bone. This one coxal bone is made up of ilium, ischium, and pubis. Please learn the names. Now, at the junction of three bones where they meet, there is a cavity called acetabulum. This cavity where the three bones are meeting, this cavity is called acetabulum. And where ischium and pubis meet, there is a foramen or the hole, this hole that is called obturator foramen, which is the largest foramen of the body. Very, very important. Do you know the largest foramen of the skull? Who can answer? Skull foramen, which is that? Largest skull foramen. Largest skull foramen. Sham, Abai, tell me. Padma. Which is the largest skull foramen? I said largest foramen of the body is obturator foramen. So which is the largest skull foramen? We studied one foramen in skull of the skull of human. Very good, Prabhudesa. It's a magnum. Do you remember the foramen of magnum? That's the largest skull foramen. And this two, one coxal bone, the other coxal bone, meet at pubic symphysis. The pubic symphysis, which is a white cartilage. The question will be, pubic symphysis is an example for white cartilage or yellow cartilage. Your answer should be white cartilage. Acetabulum is a cavity where there three bones meet, hip joint. Then obturator foramen is the where ischium and pubis meet. Point is clear to all? Please write down these points. Is it clear to all? Yes or no? I need answers.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, start writing. Done? Done. Any doubts about the girdle? So you tell me how many, like, hip girdle is made up of how many bones? Hip girdle, listen to the question carefully. Hip girdle is made up of how many bones? Hmm? Hip girdle is made up of how many bones? You cannot see the screen? Shruti, you cannot see the screen? Okay, the question is, are you done with the writing? Yes or no? You people are very late in answering. I want a quick response. Are you done with the writing? Okay, the question is, how many bones are the pelvic girdle made up of? Pelvic girdle is of how many bones? Nobody knows the answer? I should assume nobody knows the answer, or do you know the answer if you do not respond? Two. Very nice, Padma. Two, right? Yes. Next is. Next. Yes, two. Now each of this bone, hind limb, I am not, Janelle, I have not spoke anything about the hind limb. You do not have to worry. We are just discussing about the girdle. Next, tell me how many, each of this pelvic bone is called by what name? Each of this pelvic bone is called by what name? Mm-hmm. Come on, quick. Very slow. I need fast answers. Replies to be very sooner. Did you all got the point? What did I said? Each of the pelvic bone is called by what name? Hmm? Coxal bone. Yes or no? Yes, Natasha, it's a coxal bone. Why you need to have a question mark there? I told you the coxal bone is a pelvic bone. So coxal bone is made up of how many bones? Coxal bone is made up of how many bones? Quick. Three. Very good. Which are those three bones? You know, ilium, ischium, and pubis, right? Where is the acetabulum form? Where is that acetabulum form? Where these three bones meet, right? What is the arburator foramen? It's a large where ischium and pubis meet. That is the arburator foramen, which is the largest foramen of the skeletal system of our body. Did you got everything clear here? Still you have any doubts? Still do you have any doubts? It clearly says acetabulum cavity fits to the femur bone of the, we'll read about it. Acetabulum cavity present at the junction of three bones. Or obturator foramen is present between the ischium and pubis, which is largest foramen of body. Each pelvic girdle has one bone called coxal bone. Points are clear. Any doubts to anybody there?
No, ma'am.
Is everything clear? Next, please draw this now. Can you see the hind limb? How many bones are present in one hind limb? Come on, give me the answer. How many bones are present in one hind limb? How many bones are present in one hind limb? Thirty. Very good. Now please draw this. Everybody, please draw this hind limb.
Ma'am, the screen is not visible.
Sorry? Sorry, what happened?
The screen is not visible,
Ma'am, the
ma'am.
screen is frozen.
Can you see now? No. Okay, let me re-log in
No,
and get
ma'am.
back to you. Let me re-log in and get back to you. No worries. Can you see it now? Can everybody see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, do write down. Done? Shruti,
Ma'am, what is written after tassels?
after tarsals, metatarsals, gliding joint, gliding joints. Same way in the carpals you have gliding joints. Same way. In tarsals also you have a gliding joints. Once you are done, do let me know. Done, everyone? Now, listen to me. Okay. Now, femur, first is a femur bone. Can you see the femur bone? Which is the first one? Only one. This is the longest, strongest bone. And the head of this femur bone fits into which cavity? Very important. Glenoid cavity or acetabulum cavity? The head of the femur fits into acetabulum cavity or glenoid cavity. Glenoid cavity is formed in the pectoral girdle. Acetabulum cavity is found in the pelvic girdle. So into which cavity does this femur head fits? Mount Itra, come on, quick. Acetabulum, right? It fits into acetabulum cavity. Do you agree with me? Largest, strongest bone. Now, below the femur, there is tibia and fibula. Tibia is a thicker and shorter, whereas fibula is a thinner and longer. If you look into the diagram, when you compare tibia and fibula, fibula is thinner and longer, whereas tibia is thicker and shorter. The joint between the femur and the tibia is hinge joint, which is a knee joint. Between this femur and tibia, there is a sesamoid bone. Sesamoid bone means before it will be a tendon, later it become ossified. There is a deposition of salt to form bone. Those are called sesamoid bone. So there is a tendon ossification forming a bone called patella. Very, very important. So the knee joint, which bone participates? Femur bone and tibia bone participates in the knee joint. Next, there are 7 tarsals, again a gliding joint, 5 metatarsals and 14 phalanges similar to forelimb. Did you all got the point? Please write down this. Everybody please write down this.
Ma'am, show hip girdle slide.
Which one?
Hip girdle.
Hip girdle. Okay, first you write down this. I'll show you the hip girdle. Clear? Next. Shruti done? Any doubts? Do you have any doubts? Padma, why the screen is blurred for you? Still it is same?
No, ma'am, now it's visible.
Okay, fine. So let's move to the next part, that is disorders, right? No, we'll talk about joints. Okay, we'll talk about joints. Let us write down. Mm,
Ma'am, show the hip girders that.
Acha, hip girdle, pelvic girdle, right? Okay. Can you see the screen?
Ma'am, the previous one before.
This one, right? The diagram.
No, ma'am,
we're
before
talking
this
about?
one.
Yeah, take. Can you see?
Yes, done, ma'am.
Done. Okay. Now please write down about joints. First type is immovable, or it is also called fibrous or thenarthros joint. Immovable example. Can you give me an immovable example? Example for immovable joints. Sutures. You know where sutures? Sutures are the joints in skull bone. They do not move. Or teeth in jaws. Teeth in jaw. Second is slightly movable joints. Can you give an example for slightly movable or cartilaginous joint or amphiarthrosis joint? Example, vertebral joint or pubic symphysis. Pubic symphysis. Third point, freely movable joint, that is synovial joint or diarthrosis joint. It has this is free movable joints. Basically, knee joints. Or the synovial joints, or they're called examples. The first, there are different types of synovial joint. Types of. Okay, we'll write down this in the next slide. Are you done writing this one? Done, everyone? No? Yes? No? What? Yes. Let's move to the next. Types of synovial joint. Please write down types of synovial joints. First one is, you have studied just now. First is ball socket joint. Example is important. Shoulder and example, shoulder and hip joint. First one. Second one, saddle. Carpo metacarpal. Joint. Third, hinge joint. Elbow joint or knee joint. Or interphalanges, the joints between the phalangeal joint. Next, fourth one, pivot joint. Example, Alento, axial joint. Gliding joint. This is joint between carpals, joint between carpals and between tarsals. Condylar joint. Alento-occipital joint. You know condylar, where your S movement, S bone movement joint is a condylar joint. Next, seventh is ellipsoid joint. Example, metacarpophalangeal joint. So these are the different joints, synovial joints, which are present in the bone, between the bones. Ball and socket examples are very important. Saddle joint, hinge joint, pivot joint, gliding joint. Condylar is condyle. Remember the condyle, bicondylic joint. There is bone joints with the axial bone. That is the one. Then there is a ellipsoid joint between the between the metacarpal, metacarps, and the phalange. Those joints is called ellipsoid joint. Please do write down. Done? Can we talk about the next? The next is disorders. Please do write down disorders. Any doubts? Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
The next is Paget disease. Please write down Paget disease. It's an abnormal growth of bones due to osteoclast. Please write down this. Is it done?
Done, ma'am.
Done.
Yes, ma'am.
So, very important, Paget disease. Paget disease is abnormal growth of bones due to osteoclast. Means you have osteoblast and osteoclast. Osteoblast are forming cells and osteoclast are eating cells. So basically, when there is bones are being eaten up abnormally, like without the bone should be there, but it's been eaten up due to the osteoclast. That condition is called Paget's disease. What is osteomalacia? Is a softening of bone due to deficiency in vitamin D in adults, whereas rickets is the same disease when it happens in child. Osteoporosis is the age-related disease. Has the aged person, the bones become weakened due to the decalcification. So osteoporosis. Osteoarthritis is again a age-related where there is an inflammation in joints and pain. Rheumatoid arthritis. It's an autoimmune disease, very important. They'll give you a list of disease and they'll ask you which among this is a autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease means your own immune system is harmful to you. So this is called autoimmune disease, which is leads to the inflammation in the synovial membrane, which are present. You should know the gout disease leads to disease due to the inflammation happens due to deposition of which acid, lactic acid or uric acid. They'll ask you. It is due to the deposition of uric acid. Is the point clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts? Any doubts, anyone? Okay. I hope everything is clear. The class is until 4:15, right? Yes or no?
Ma'am, 4 right.
Until 4, the class is at? What time ma'am start the class? Okay, let's last one video. Just look for this. You have any class now? Hello.
No, ma'am.
No, right? Okay, look for this video and then we'll bind up the class.
Ma'am,
Can
is
you
this
see the screen?
over?
Hmm? Can you see the screen?
Is a living framework that provides support and protection, enables movement, produces blood cells, and stores vital minerals. It can be divided into two components, the axial skeleton and the appendicular skeleton. The axial skeleton comprises 80 of the 206 bones in the skeletal system and forms the vertical axis of the body. And the rib or thoracic cage, also known as the bony thorax. There are many who consider the skull to be the most important structure in the entire skeletal system. It houses and protects the brain and provides the framework for most of the sensory organs, including eyes, ears, tongue, and nose. Of the 28 bones in the skull, 8 form the cranium that encases the brain, while the remaining 20 include the bones of the face, the ossicles of the middle ear, and the hyoid bone, which is located beneath the lower jaw. The skull is attached to the top of the vertebral column, also sometimes referred to as the backbone. The vertebral column contains the 33 vertebrae that surround and protect the spinal cord, which is responsible for transmitting information between the brain and the rest of the body. The vertebral column is divided into 5 separate regions. These include the 7 cervical vertebrae, 12 thoracic vertebrae, 5 lumbar vertebrae, as well as the sacrum and the coccyx. Although the vertebrae from different regions of the vertebral column differ from one another, they all share 2 features. First, they provide a bony canal for the spinal cord, and second, there is a notch on each side that forms an opening which permits spinal nerves to pass through the vertebral column to and from the spinal cord. Arcing forward anteriorly from the vertebrae is the rib cage, consisting of 12 paired ribs that form a protective cage around several internal organs. The interior of this cage is known as the thoracic cavity. It houses and protects heart and lungs. One end of each pair of ribs joins with one of the 12 thoracic vertebrae. The other end of the upper 10 pairs of ribs is attached by cartilage to the sternum, also known as the breastbone. The first 7 pairs attach directly to the sternum via cartilage and are known as vertebrosternal ribs. The next 3 pairs attach to the 7th rib via cartilage and are known as vertebrochondral ribs. The lower 2 pairs of ribs do not attach to the sternum and are called floating or vertebral ribs. While the axial skeleton includes skull, spinal column, and ribcage, the other portion of the skeletal system, the appendicular skeleton, consists of 2 supportive frames called the pectoral and pelvic girdles, along with their attached appendages, better known as arms and legs. The upper portion of the appendicular skeleton includes the bones of the arms and hands, plus the pectoral girdle, which is formed by the collarbone or clavicle, and the shoulder bone or scapula. The uppermost proximal bone of the arm is called the humerus, joined at its lower end to the 2 bones of the lower arm, the ulna and the radius. The lower end of the ulna and radius is attached to a group of 8 bones called the carpal bones that form the wrist. The palm of the hand contains the metacarpal bones, which are joined to another group of bones called the phalanges, also known as fingers. The lower portion of the appendicular skeleton includes the bones of the legs and feet, plus the pelvic girdle, which consists of 2 large bony structures called the coxal bones, commonly known as the hip bones. Coxal bones are actually 3 fused bones, the ilium, ischium, and pubis. The pelvic girdle attaches the lower appendages to the axial skeleton at the sacrum. The upper proximal leg bone is called the femur or thigh bone. The lower distal end of the femur meets the 2 bones of the lower leg, the larger tibia and the smaller fibula at the knee. In front of each knee joint is a small triangular bone called the patella or kneecap that protects the knee joint and acts as a pulley for the upper thigh muscles. The tibia and fibula join with 7 small tarsal bones to form the ankle. The tarsal and metatarsal bones, along with the phalanges of the toes, form the foot. It should be noted that there are some significant differences between the male and female skeletal systems. The pelvis is larger and flatter in females, which facilitates pregnancy and childbirth. Female bones in general, however, are rounder and smaller than in males. In addition, the male jaw is more squared, and men have more pronounced eyebrow ridges.
Understood? Very easily understandable video. Did you all understood the skeletal system of the human body? Any doubts to anyone there? All the bones are important. All the things which I have mentioned is important. Read my notes along with the NCRT. You are done. You just have to solve the MCQs after that. Are you getting the point? I hope you enjoyed this lesson. So we are ending this lesson today here. We'll be starting with the new lesson in the next class. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So see you all in the next class. Until then, happy learning and bye-bye.